A cub brought her flowers. The elite guard declared a planet-wide search for better ones. The first time Mira arrived on the Varesh homeworld, she expected formality, ceremony, a stiff welcome from dignitaries who'd only ever seen a human in diplomatic hollows. What she got instead was a flower, a very small, very wilted, very brave flower. It was being held, adorably awkwardly, by a Varesh cub, no taller than Mira's waist. His fur puffed out in nervous static. His ears were trembling. His tail was wrapped around one leg like he wasn't sure what to do with it. He stepped forward, arms shaking, and squeaked. "For you, human Mira." Mira knelt, heart already melting. "For me? That's so sweet." The cub puffed up proudly, which made him look like a dandelion about to explode. Behind him, 10 members of the Varesh elite guard, the deadliest protectors in the sector, stood frozen, wide-eyed, horrified. Because a cub had touched the human diplomat. Worse, he had gifted her something. And even worse than that, Mira smiled. "Oh no," whispered one guard. She accepted it. "Oh stars," whispered another. "That means a bond." "Oh void," whispered the captain, already reaching for his communicator. "The high pride is going to scream." Mira blinked at them. "It's just a flower." The Varesh captain looked like she'd said it was an unstable antimatter core balanced on a teacup. "Human Mira," he said gravely. "That is not just a flower. It is a courting gesture of the first bloom. Ancient, sacred, powerful. He has initiated—" The cub piped up cheerfully. "I just thought she looked nice." "An unbreakable vow of emotional allegiance," the captain finished, ignoring the cub entirely. Mira blinked again. "Oh." The elite guard erupted into panic. "We need better flowers. Faster, larger, more fragrant. Scour the eastern valley. No, the whole planet. The human must not think our blooms are weak." Mira tried to intervene. "Guys, really, this one is fine." But it was too late. The captain declared, "Initiate Operation Bloom before the human." Every guard sprinted off in a different direction. 2 launched into the air on jet wings. 1 dove into a river. Someone shouted, "I've found purple ones!" before promptly falling off a cliff. The cub tugged her sleeve, mortified. "Mira, I didn't mean to start a war." She laughed softly and ruffled the fur between his ears. "Don't worry, little guy. Humans don't go to war over flowers." The cub relaxed. Then Mira added, "We go to war over family." The cub froze. The gods froze. Even the wind paused. Because Varesh hearing a human call a cub family was monumental. Cultural history, monumental. Ancient treaty, monumental. The elite guard immediately dropped to one knee. One whispered, "The human has claimed him." Another whispered, "The human has chosen a cub." The captain, voice trembling, said, "We must bring the finest blooms in the hemisphere. Nothing less is worthy." Mira stood there, still holding the wilted flower, wondering how this situation had escalated into a diplomatic earthquake in under 3 minutes. By midday, the mountains surrounding the capital looked like a floral explosion. Color-coded squads were deployed. Drone scouts surveyed cliffsides. A team of botanist warriors rappelled into a crater containing a species of flower believed extinct. Meanwhile, the cub followed Mira like a duckling, proudly telling anyone who would listen. She said, "I'm family." And every time he said it, grown Varesh warriors got emotional. Some cried, some fainted. One immediately began knitting a ceremonial scarf. The high matriarch herself arrived before sunset, massive, regal, and radiating the kind of power that made even the elite guard stand straighter. She inspected Mira, inspected the cub, inspected the flower. Then she leaned down so her face was level with Mira's. "Human," she said in a low, thunderous purr. "Do you accept the cub into your circle?" Mira opened her mouth, then looked at the cub. His little round eyes were huge, hopeful, trusting, and very, very scared that she might say no. She gently touched his paw. "Of course I do." The matriarch let out a sound halfway between a roar and a happy earthquake. The mountains echoed it. Birds scattered. Several guards burst into tears. "Then the ceremony begins," she declared. Mira blinked. "Ceremony?" Night fell. The entire valley lit up with floating lanterns. Drums rumbled through the air. Warriors marched in formation, carrying baskets overflowing with flowers gathered from every biome on the planet. A pathway of petals was created for Mira and the cub to walk side by side. When they reached the matriarch, she pressed her forehead to Mira's, an honor no outsider had ever received. "Little human," she murmured. "Our cub chose with innocence, but you accepted with courage. That is the mark of true kin." She pulled back and raised an enormous paw. "From this day forward, this cub, leery of the first bloom, is bound to you, and you to him." Leary practically vibrated with joy. Mira wiped her eyes. "I'll look after him, always." The matriarch nodded solemnly. "And we will look after you." The valley erupted in roars of celebration, and for the first time in Varesh history, a human stood at the heart of their oldest tradition, not as a visitor, not as an outsider, but as family. When the night quieted and the festivities faded, Leary curled up beside her, exhausted from all the excitement. "Mira," he mumbled sleepily. "Yeah, bud?" "Thank you for liking my flower." She brushed a few petals from his fur. It was perfect. And it was because sometimes a single small gift can reshape an entire world.